Hello and welcome here to Talk FCB and welcome back here to the channel for another video, guys, and welcome of course to the preview of Getafe against Barcelona, which will be kicking off on Saturday afternoon, and this will be round 4 of La Liga. The big question: can we continue our run of wins? Can we beat Getafe away from home on Saturday? We're going to be looking at all that and more in today's preview, which once again is sponsored by OneFootball, of which their app currently tells me that 94% of the voters who voted on their app, of which is around 50,000 people who voted, they believe that Barcelona will be successful and will beat Getafe on Saturday afternoon. So OneFootball app users are very, very confident that Barcelona will be winning this match. The link for that is down below, guys, and may be of use to you as the season goes on. But this is going to be a very, very important game for Barcelona, because I believe this is the game that we're going to see some rotations from Ernesto Valverde. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what players he brings in. Can they step up? And this is going to be a real test, particularly this game and the game at home next midweek against Eibar. That's going to be the test of our squad. How deep is our squad? Can we compete throughout the season in the many matches we've got? And what is Ernesto going to come up with tomorrow afternoon against Getafe? And I really do hope in a way that he doesn't rotate too much. That's not what you want to do. We're going to be having a look at his press conference and some of his quotes from earlier on today, later on in the video. But first of all, we're going to do what we always do: look at previous meetings, look at some stats, and first of all, let's look at this, because just over 10 years ago, this happened against Getafe.
Messi. Oh, brilliant skill from Lionel Messi. Surging forward with real menace here. Brilliant from Messi. Oh, what a goal that is! And the whole of this ground stands and applauds the 19-year-old. Have you seen a better goal than that anywhere this season? I very much doubt it.
And on that day, it ended up being 5-2 to Barcelona. That was actually a Copa del Rey match, but what an unbelievable goal. What an unbelievable moment. Just another one of those goals to add to the Lionel Messi list. He's got his own personal collection of those kind of goals. The only player on the planet who could produce something as magical as that was. But in terms of Getafe against Barcelona, we do have a relatively good record against them. It's quite a difficult stadium to go to, I feel. It's quite a hostile ground. It's quite a difficult stadium to sort of play in. The pitch is never in perfectly good condition, certainly by our standards. We won 6-0 at home last time we faced them. That was back in 2016 in March. That was the season before last, of course. They are newly promoted back into La Liga this season. And then we won 2-0 away from home. And I distinctly remember that game because it was a real magical moment once again in a Barca shirt, but this time for Sergi Roberto. A wonderful back heel assist, and that was what gave us the win on that day. A really, really nice moment for him. A brilliant little piece of skill, and a 2-0 away win back in that season. And then in 2015 was a game again that I particularly remember against Getafe at the Camp Nou, another 6-0 home win. But I remember in this game nearly every single goal was an absolute screamer. There was some magical goals on display. Lionel Messi scored 2, Luis Suarez scored 2, Neymar got on the act, and Xavi Hernandez as well. Great to see him scoring at the Camp Nou, and that was another brilliant win. We did draw though 0-0 back in December of 2014 away from home. That's why if I was Valverde, I would sort of steer away from making too many changes. He needs to make some rotations, but I wouldn't go too overboard here. We need to make sure we pick up the points, and we need to make sure we're taking them seriously. And I'm just going to take you through some Valverde quotes now, which did take place his press conference earlier on today. And he was specifically asked quite a few times about rotation. He was specifically asked as well about a few individual players. He was asked about Denis Suarez not making many appearances. He was asked as well about Alex Vidal, whether he was in his plans, because there was reports that Alex Vidal was very close to leaving the club at the end of the window. And here's what he had to say about the match tomorrow in general. He said that the group is absolutely huge, the squad. He said only 11 can play every week, and it's clear that when there are days where many changes can be done, I will look to do so. He said, I'm very happy with the performances so far of Alex Vidal. He started in some games and he can help us as well in 2 different positions. He said, what we do on the pitch matters. What other teams do doesn't interest us. We have to focus on adding and consolidating our own team. When he was asked about Ousmane Dembele and how he was getting on in his preparations and in training and settling into the squad, he said Dembele is getting better and better by the day. He's learning more, he's giving more, and in the weeks to come come, he'll be able to give more and more in a Barcelona shirt. And then Ernesto Valverde was asked about Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez. He was asked whether they were untouchable in the first team. Valverde replied with, "We'll see. Now there are 3 games every week and we will decide what's the best course of action." So he didn't really deny that Messi or Suarez could be rested against possibly Getafe or Eibar. He didn't really say whether he would side one way or another. But what he did say was, he said Getafe are a team that defends well. It'll be a good test for us away from home. He said it's a very important week for Barcelona. So far we've achieved the full 9 points in the league, but we have to continue that in this game. But overall, Valverde, as usual, didn't give too much away in his press conference. He didn't really give us any specific details on who would be getting the nod tomorrow to start. He did seem to imply there would be rotations tomorrow to some degree, but we're not quite sure right now of how many rotations and how many different players is he going to change from the Juventus and the Espanyol games. That's the key, because personally, if it was down to me, I'm not the coach, but if I was the coach, what I would do, particularly the next 2 games that we've got Getafe away from home on Saturday. Just 3 days following the Getafe game, we've got Eibar at home on that Tuesday at the Camp Nou. So a home game against Eibar and this Saturday away against Getafe. The 2 very games coming up, very close in proximity, along with obviously Espanyol, Juventus, very close those 2 were as well. So the squad is going to be a bit stretched. It is going to be a bit tired. So I think there's 2 games there where you could integrate a different style of rotations. I wouldn't go gung-ho and sort of rotate a load of players away from home. I wouldn't do that. What I would do against Getafe is just change around 2 or 3 players who are maybe getting a bit tired, rotate those, bring in some new blood, and then what I would do against Eibar is do another 2 or 3, 3 or 4 at home. I'd rather rotate at home than away. Away from home is always predictable. Even if it is just somebody like Getafe, you can't take any chances in this league. Despite what people may believe, La Liga's teams are not always pushovers. They really, really aren't. You've got to be on it. You've got to go to a team, particularly that they're Madrid-based. They'll be going all out in this game. And I really do believe that Valverde in this game, 2 or 3 changes, don't go too crazy, and then make a few more against Eibar if you need to. So here is the squad that has been announced for the Getafe game by Ernesto Valverde. 2 very important things to note from this squad. Number 1 is the exclusion of Lucas Digne. Now, I was doing a predicted lineup for this game. I'm going to show you that in just a few moments. But originally, I did have Digne in there. I thought possibly Valverde might have given Jordi Alba a rest. He's been really, really good down that left. We know that. But he can't do it every single game, particularly when we got 3 games a week. It's a demanding role, so I'm surprised in this game we're not giving Alba a rest potentially, but I think that definitely implies that against Eibar at home, Lucas Digne will start the game. Also left out is Alex Vidal and also Thomas Vermaelen. Arda Turan misses out, of course. We knew he was injured already. The same goes for Rafinha. Paco Alcácer also left out of the squad, which means that Luis Suarez is very, very likely to remain up front in that front 3 for the coming game. And once again, I'm putting myself in Ernesto Valverde's shoes, and this is the lineup that I would go with against Getafe. I would start Ter Stegen. A few people said to me, would Cillessen play in this game? I personally can't see that. Ter Stegen's been very, very good so far, very solid. I think we're very likely to see Cillessen, in the Copa del Rey games and possibly some later Champions League games when things might be already decided. Jordi Alba, like I said, very likely to play now at left back thanks to the exclusion of Lucas Digne. Titi will remain in defence. I would potentially play Javier Mascherano instead of Gerard Piqué. Nothing to do with form, but I just think Piqué, he does struggle with a few persistent hip injuries, back injuries. It might be wise to give Mascherano a game. He's played already this season. I think you could fill in there at centre back and give Piqué a bit of a rest. I think Semedo will start. I would definitely start him at right back. He's not somebody that suffers with any fatigue. He's a very fit guy. He's very athletic. He was outstanding against Juventus, and he's become a really, really important part in our team in such a short time as well. I would start him. I would play Sergio Busquets. I would start him, and the reason for that is, like I said in my video yesterday when I was talking about the team shape, he is massive in this team. Absolutely colossal. I would start him, but if we're winning, if we're 2-0 up, 60 odd minutes gone, he would be one of the first players that I would take off. Give him a rest, bring on somebody like Paulinho, possibly who can play a bit deeper, Rakitic, but give Busquets a rest if you can, but I would start him. Make sure he's on the field, he will play well, the team will play well, and it'll get us off to a good start. I feel like this definitely will be, either this game or the Eibar game, one of the two will be a game where we we see Denis Suarez from the start. And I would start him personally in midfield, in that creative midfield position where we've seen Iniesta the past few games. I think in the midfield that we currently have, the way we're playing, Denis Suarez in that role could play really, really well. He's good in tight spaces. He's just like Iniesta in the way that he likes to dribble. He likes to get hold of the ball. He's very, very confident. Start him in that midfield. See how he does. I think he deserves a chance. He showed it in pre-season, the quality that he has. He could play a part in that midfield role for sure. Alongside of him, I would go with Sergio Roberto. I think he's been quite unlucky recently not to get a few games. Heath believes that he deserves to play in that midfield, and I would tend to agree with him. Give him a start once again in midfield alongside Denis Suarez. Get them in that team, get them playing, get them some minutes. Sergio Roberto alongside Denis, Busquets a bit deeper, and then my front three would be Suarez, Messi and Gerard Deulofeu. Now the reason I'm going with Deulofeu is simply because Dembele started the game against Juventus. He's not fully match fit yet. We saw him against Juve. He did look a bit leggy towards the end. He didn't look completely 100% fit. I think in this game Deulofeu deserves a start. He's played well when he's been called upon so far. He gives his all for the team. His work rate is good. He's selfless. He plays for the team. Give him a start in this game and he could thrive and continue that confidence that he's had so far. Once again, when Getafe are tiring, you can bring on Dembele and he'll once again show his quality, and that'll give him a bit of confidence coming off the bench if he can once again make an impact. But that's the team that I would go with. I think that shows a little bit of rotations. I don't think it's crazy. I think you've still got your core players. You've still got Ter Stegen. You've still got Umtiti, Alba and Semedo. The fullbacks so massively key in our system right now. It's important they stay in the team as often as possible. I would keep Busquets in there, the hub of all things in midfield. And when you've got Busquets in there, that experienced head, that wise head, you know how calm he is under pressure, he can really help out the likes of Denis and Sergio Roberto, younger midfield players coming through. He can help them adapt to that midfield and just calm things down a bit. Busquets is vital in that midfield. I really think he has to start. If we're winning, you can take him off. The same goes for Suarez. Even Messi, if we're comfortably winning, you could give him a rest. But I think they have to start. You've got to keep them on the pitch. This is still a tough game. You've got to go there and win it. You've got to give your all. And Deulofeu in that forward role as well. I think he can play a part from the start on Saturday. So as always, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. My score prediction for this game is Getafe 0, Barcelona 3. Lionel Messi right now is untouchable. He is in the form of his life. I would go as far to say that. I really, really would. Right now in that false nine role, he looks revitalised, he looks fresh, he looks hungry and motivated for a really, really successful season. He cannot be stopped right now, and for that reason, Getafe won't get near him. Getafe 0, Barca 3 is my prediction. Let me know your lineup and your score predictions down below, guys. As always, I'll see you very, very soon. Tomorrow I'll have more videos coming up. I'll have my lineup reaction before the game. After the game, of course, I'll have my match review and my player ratings, and lots more going on the channel as well, guys. Thank you, as always, for your support. I'll see you very, very soon indeed. But until then, as always, Vesca el Barça!